Good evening, viewers. You're watching the World News Bulletin. I am Sohna Tunkara. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. The newly appointed ambassador from Spain and Belgium today present their letters of credence to the Gambian President Adama Barrow. The Spanish ambassador, Ms. Alga Kabaka Gomez, and the ambassador of Belgium, Mr. Hubert Rossin, both extend their country's commitment in enhancing the cordial relations between their nations and the Gambia. More of that in this report.
The two ambassadors were received by the head of state, President Adama Barrow, and the first to present copies of letters of credence was Her Excellency Ms. Olga Kabaka Gomez, the ambassador of the Kingdom of Spain to the Gambia, followed by His Excellency Mr. Hubert Rossin, the ambassador of Belgium to the Gambia. The envoys indicated their country's commitment in strengthening relations between the Gambia and their respective countries in various mutual areas of interest.
We are very supportive of all the reforms and the democratization process that is taking place in the Gambia, because we think that that's going to be in the interest of all the people of this country. And of course, we have also had the opportunity to talk about the bilateral relationship that is very strong. We would like it to be even stronger. We would like to see a lot of Spanish companies investing here in Gambia.
The newly appointed ambassador, His Excellency Hubert Rossin, reaffirms his nation's commitment in fostering the already existing relations both countries share in various sectors.
So we have a few aspects of these ties between the Gambia and the Kingdom of Belgium quite visible in the country. First of all is the presence of Brussels Airlines, which is flying 5 to 6 times a week for the moment, even circumstances which are not so easy. People-to-people contacts between the cities of, for instance, which extend of cooperation very sectors. So all cooperation agency present in the Gambia.
Following the formation of the repressive rule which the Gambia's bilateral relations with many European countries, the Gambia is rebuilding its relations. The country over the years has maintained diplomatic relations with several countries, particularly European Union countries, including Spain and Belgium. For African News, Sohna Tunkara.
The Gambian leader Adama Barrow today receives 2 ambassadors from Spain and Belgium. Now moving on to the matters of the Gambias Truth Commission, on Wednesday began to hear testimonies of witnesses in regards to the alleged killings of the West African migrants in 2005 under the dictates of former President Yahya Jammeh. Kebaba, a police officer, was the first witness to face the commission on his participation in rescuing the migrants. Reports by Khadijatu Seka.
Of Barrow in the north. The witness says he Mason that canoes were the source of Barrow and he went with his team to rescue them. He says the migrants were taken to Banjul the next day, and since then he lost track of their whereabouts until he had dead bodies were found at the Burfoot Soul.
I can't remember, I can't hear anything else, and after later when I heard they found so many, dead bodies at this place, town, I don't know. Even better, where we normally pick up and so on by the beach, as you know, they is known to normally those type of things.
How the 22nd 2005 place. Mr. Fall says he was informed by his boss that there were people stranded at Baraso who were probably drug traffickers. The witness says the suspected traffickers were found to be migrants.
That these people instead What we thought of as drug traffickers, I don't see that sign. And I believe these people, where I saw them, they were almost over. I don't count them in person. I don't know the number exactly. But why? I would estimate almost over 50. At that point of time, I believe that these people were migrants. Carrying things that would make me to believe that they are whatsoever. They are carrying just small bags, and these people look like people who were hungry.
The government of the then president had the migrants. In previous DRC settings, the junglers who testified before the commission said migrants on orders of Nigeria. The families of more than 50 Ghanaians and other West African migrants killed in the Gambia some 16 years ago are yet to learn the full truth and obtain justice concerning the massacre. But with the unfolding of revelations at the TRRC, a lot will be known about the incident and steps may be taken to obtain justice for their families. Reporting for African News, I am Gambias Truth.
The Gambias Truth Commission has begun hearings of the killings of the 44 Ghanaians who were killed during the former President Yahya Jammeh's ruling. And from that report by Khadijatu Seka, parents of school-going children in Nigeria are worried about the safety of their children as different schools continue to be attacked by armed groups. This has put teachers in a bleak situation, and some parents are now reluctant to send their kids at school. The frequent attack at schools has been linked to the lack of job opportunities in the West African state. Details in this report.
45-year-old Theresa Owonobi is preparing her 3 children for school. She says that every day she has to take them to school and back just to ensure their safety.
I don't feel safe because it can happen to anybody. As you can see, I bring my children to school every day, day by day. I bring them to school and I come to pick them in the afternoon. As a matter of fact, this country, there is no security.
The teachers are also worried and now fear that student attendance will continue dropping.
Teachers here say parents and guardians are now reluctant to send their children to school due to insecurity.
The teachers are also worried about their security. In last week's attack, 3 teachers and 12 of their family members were abducted. Many of them say they are now soft targets for kidnappers. This is beginning to take a toll on the progress they've made in educating children.
We don't feel safe as teachers in school. Even the children are not safe. Parents too are not safe. If it can happen in Borno, Kaduna, Niger, it can also happen here on Plateau. So no one knows where it will strike.
Psychologists link the recent attacks on schools to the problem of high youth unemployment. They say insurgents are trying to stop locals from getting Western education.
If this situation continues, it's going to affect the school negatively because no parents will be willing to expose the child into that kind of torture. The government should please try and do something because I'm very sure that if jobs are created, more jobs are created, I know that these people will be occupied.
President Buhari has ordered military and police heads to beef up security in schools across the country and find the perpetrators of these crimes. Until then, parents like Theresa will have to deal with the fear that comes with taking their children to school daily.
Mamba Njai, the Administrative Secretary of the National People's Party, NPP, has told iAfrica TV that President Barrow's newly launched party could coalesce with the former ruling APRC party in the upcoming December 2021 presidential elections. He said negotiations between the two parties could only start at the appropriate time. Binta Jallo tells us more in this report.
Last month, President Adama Barrow held a grand luncheon for his National People's Party as different political parties intensified their preparations ahead of the much-anticipated 2020 December 4th presidential election. The party's administrative secretary Mamajik Njai has said that their party could collide with any political party, including the APRC, in the forthcoming December polls. The Green Party over the weekend held its 7th Congress with a renewed commitment of returning to State House. According to Mamajik Njai, talks of a coalition between the two parties haven't started, but there is a high possibility for negotiations.
Negotiation possibly no, not yet, but it may happen. Because I never shy away from taking that responsibility that if the time is ripe, we are going to engage the APRC into negotiations. Why not? It is a legally registered political party. It has not been deregistered, has it been? So therefore, it is a legally registered political party operating legally in this country. And I keep emphasizing one thing, that no civilian supporter of the APRC has been incriminated in any human rights violation. So why shouldn't they, as citizens, be engaged in moving this country forward? Everybody who is mentioned in the TRRC is one way or the other a security official, not a civilian supporter of the APRC. Those people, as far as I know, have not committed any crime.
Responding of a possible condition from the APRC party, Mamajik Njai says it all depends on the negotiations.
You see, in a negotiation, there cannot be any rules that the other party has to follow. So APRC cannot give us rules that we have to follow. No, it is going to be a negotiation of equals. And then what comes out from the negotiation will depend on how each party is willing to compromise their position. But for now, I don't want us to be involved in conjecture saying what if not. It has not happened yet, and I have no doubt that we will cross that bridge when we get there.
President Adama Barrow has earlier seemingly confirmed speculations about forming a coalition with the former ruling party, Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction, by admitting that it's a possibility. Officials of the APRC said they are also open for negotiations, but have not reached an agreement with any party. Reporting for iAfrica TV, Binta Jallo.
From that report by Binta Jallo, moving on to Central America, more than 2 million people are set to receive food supply from the United Nations World Food Programme after food insecurity hit the region. The level of hunger in the 3 affected areas has increased over the years due to the natural calamities that left many starving. More of that in this report by Ndaisise.
The level of hunger in El Salvador, Guatemala and Honduras in Central America has increased over the past 2 years, largely due to natural calamities that struck the area. Millions of people in Central America urgently need food assistance due to the economic crisis caused by COVID-19 and years of extreme climate events. Marlene Rochelles and her husband, victims of food insecurity, were blocked from entering Guatemala after joining a caravan of migrants. Rochelle explained the economic hardship she has been encountering with her family.
Before the pandemic, we had jobs, but with the pandemic, everything closed. We weren't allowed to leave. The curfew started. Nobody could leave their home. So we couldn't work anymore, and we couldn't bring any food home. After that, the hurricane arrived.
In 2020, the hurricane season affected almost 7.5 million people in Central America who did not experience food shortage in previous years. According to the 2021 World Food Programme survey, homes and farms were destroyed and job opportunities running low, leaving nearly 15% of the people in a bleak situation.
Sometimes the children got sick and we didn't have a cent. This is why we decided to leave, because we wanted to finish the house, buy the children's bed, find a good job, and have a whole different life. But when we left, unfortunately, we couldn't cross over.
The World Food Programme is the world's largest humanitarian agency, fighting hunger and food insecurity worldwide. The UN Food Assistance Agency aims to save and change lives by delivering food assistance in emergencies and working with communities to improve nutrition. Since November 2020, World Food Programme has been provided food assistance to over 69,000 families in Honduras affected by hurricanes. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
More than 2 million people in Central Africa are suffering from hunger due to the strike of natural calamities. Now, the growing boat accidents in Uganda have raised concerns among citizens, including fishermen who are mostly affected. The frequent boat accidents are likely attributed to bad weather conditions and overloading, as some passengers usually disregard the maritime rules. The government has boosted security to maintain safety in Ugandan waters. More in this report.
Julius Chivumbi has spent 20 years of his life as a fisherman on Lake Victoria. Despite his experience, he says it's hard to tell how the waters will behave. Julius has had several brushes with death, but the most frightening one was 2 years ago.
It wasn't a pleasant day. All of a sudden, the engine just stopped and the boat started turning in circles. Everyone on the boat was crying out. I tried calming people down, and it was raining heavily. You couldn't even see your next neighbor. It lasted about 5 minutes, but everyone knew we were gone.
Julius says when the storm died down, they called for help from their fellow fishermen who arrived quickly. Boat accidents on Uganda's major waters are becoming frequent. Fishermen here say the biggest risk they face in the waters is strong winds and waves that often overpower their small boats. And with laxity in safety measures, accidents are imminent. The last deadly boat accident on Lake Victoria was in 2018 when 30 people died. Over 100 people were aboard the boat for a fun ride, far more than its capacity. And in December last year, 26 people died on Lake Albert on the border of Uganda and the DRC. Poor weather and overloading was reported as the cause of both accidents. But some fishermen fault passengers for disobeying maritime rules.
Some passengers begin drinking alcohol on the boat and we can't stop them. After getting drunk, they even remove the life jackets. And they even tell you off that they rented the boat, and you have no right to tell them what to do.
The government has deployed marine police on the lakes to improve safety. But the unit's leader says his team is ill-equipped to man the 4 major lakes in the country, making it hard to rescue people on time. Fishermen like Julius also blame boat owners for the poor condition of some of the vessels.
People do not pay attention to the damages on their boats, and on top of that, they overload the boats just because they want to earn more money. And at the end of the day, accidents happen.
Many of the vessels on Uganda's waters are said to be unseaworthy. Fishermen like Julius say it's up to them to ensure they are safe in the water before embarking on a journey.
We'll now wrap up with the World Today newscast. I am Sohna Tunkara. Thanks for watching and bye for now.